I think there's a quote that says something like, I am what I think I am. So basically, a lot of times we hold our opinions of self on what we think another person thinks of us. And the interesting part is that we're never actually in the mind of someone else, so we don't actually really know what they think of us. We're just forming assumptions of what we think they think of us. And wholeheartedly, we base our self-concept on this all the time. And if you have been striking out in terms of any type of relationship, like if you are finding people are just not harmonizing with you at all, this is really the golden ticket to it. Your assumptions of what you think someone else thinks of you. And you may not think that you're allowed to change this assumption, that maybe there's proof from the past of the reason why you think that you have to get on board with this idea of them thinking about you in a certain way. But we change our ideas of what we like, what we dislike, our opinions of things all of the time. So you actually do have free reign as to how to assume the other person to see you. And I actually made a video about this a couple years ago. Very successful video, how to get someone to be addicted to you. And basically, the advice in it is that you have every power to assume what you think the other person thinks of you. And in doing this, we're not literally changing what they think of us, but we're changing how they show up in our lives. And this is quite literally one of the most powerful things that you can do to change your life, because it works in every single relationship, and our lives are basically full of relationships. Like, we're interacting with people all of the time, and we all want harmonious days. We all want lucky days, and this involves people. Whether or not you're trying to manifest a parking spot or a free cup of coffee or the love of your life, there's people involved. If you're trying to manifest a lot of money, there's people involved. People have to pay you that money. So there's people involved in every manifestation. So if you can start understanding how powerful it is to change your idea of what you think someone else thinks of you, and why you have free reign on this, and why it works so well, you can really start to change your results pretty much immediately. So I want you to try it right now. Give it a 24-hour test. Pick someone in your life. I don't care who it is. In fact, for this test, make it a less meaningful relationship. Like, for this test, don't pick your romantic partner that you've been trying to manifest back. Let's just pick somebody who's less important that we can test this on, so that you can build confidence to use it on the bigger relationships. So you're going to pick somebody. I don't care who it is. It could be someone you know well, someone you don't know well, but let's just pick a relationship that you want to test this on. So you're going to pick someone. Then you're going to make a mental note or write down what you have been thinking that this person thinks of you. And then we are going to write down how you specifically want them to see you in a different way. Maybe you want them to say something specific or do something. You want them to show up in a brand new way that you couldn't explain away. So if this happened, it wouldn't be like, oh, it's a coincidence, but rather something that you specifically drew in. So pick something right now. Pick a way that you want this person to show up that you can't explain away. And write that down. I think it would be better to specifically write this part of it down, because that way when it happens, you can reference it. A lot of times we set intentions and then we let it go to such a degree that we've forgotten we said it, and then we can't necessarily use it as proof because we don't actually remember we did it. So I want you to write down the new way that you want this person to see you. The specific thing you want them to do, say, how you want them to show up. And then I want you to be very, very mindful when this person comes to mind, how you think they think of you. We're doing this all the time. We do this with everyone. Everyone does this, whether or not they admit it or not. If you can start deliberately doing this, every single relationship in your life will change. You will be a lucky person. Every single moment will feel lovely and amazing, because people will be kinder to you. People will show up in better ways. It will literally blow your mind. But every single one of us has relationships in our lives that we want to be fixed, or relationships that we want to cultivate. I know for me, I want to manifest more successful business relationships. I want to manifest contacts that can help me in terms of animal rescue. So these are specific things that I want to manifest. I know for me, business didn't really take off for me until I started seeing myself as someone who could provide great value to someone else. In the beginning, I always felt very timid, like I was going to be seen as somehow inadequate or even a fraud, like what I was offering wasn't good enough. I especially thought this at first when I decided to become a piano teacher a very long time ago. I was scared to death that even though I had all these years of piano training, that I somehow wasn't good enough to teach, which was completely ludicrous because I had more than enough qualifications to do so. But I held the self-concept that people would not see me as good enough. And I bet you can guess that I was not successful until I started to adjust that feeling of self. So how do you think you show up in the eyes of other people? How do you want to show up in the eyes of other people? That's the better question. But I think first we have to recognize what you currently assume other people to think of you, and you need to be really honest. You need to be brutally honest on this. You can't kind of fake it and say to yourself, well, it's kind of this. You have to be really honest and unravel these things. So take an honest look. How do I think I am viewed by the people in my world? And how do I want to be viewed? And you have every ability to change this to the highest and the best. You do not need some sort of accomplishment under your belt in order to feel this way. You can assume other people see you as attractive or lovely or worth paying money for a service. You could envision other people to see you as accomplished or confident. You could pretty much pick anything. So ask yourself your ideal life. The way you show up for you in your ideal life. How is it that other people would view you if you were this ideal self? And then how can you start making the assumptions that people already see you in this way? For example, you do not need a successful job or a successful love relationship to have other people admire you. This really is the great secret. How you think other people see you. Take a look at your friendships right now. Maybe you have a best friend that you know really cares about you. When this person comes to mind, how do you think they think of you? This is a positive relationship in your life. And then how can you emulate that same type of strategy for the relationships in your life that currently aren't working? If you don't have any good relationships in your life, ask yourself how you want this person to see you and how you would be able to reframe this idea in your mind that they could actually see you in this way. Maybe you're trying to get someone to forgive you. Maybe you're trying to get someone to stop ignoring you. Maybe you want an apology. Maybe there is a broken relationship in your life, someone you had a falling out with. Maybe this person you want to reconnect with. So how do you think this person thinks of you? Now, if you find it nearly impossible to assume something positive, you can also just omit the reaffirmation of this idea that this person hates you, this idea that this person dislikes you, or this person wants to ignore you, or this person is in disharmony with you, or that the disagreement that happened is being perpetuated. So you can actually just turn off all of that clutter, use the light switch technique and just kind of turn it off for some inner peace of mind. And that actually can be just as effective as implementing the good stuff. That's really all it is. Enroll in my free 10-day Manifesting Miracles course, studywithveronica.com, personal mentorship there as well. Subscribe for all the tips, tricks, and hacks you need to live your best life ever. And I'm wishing you all the miracles in the world. You deserve it.